What's up guys, my name is Brandon and welcome back to the second episode of the best iOS 10 through 10.2 jailbreak tweaks. So in the first video we took a look at 23 awesome tweaks for your iOS 10 device, but in this video we're going to be looking at 46 awesome tweaks compatible with iOS 10. And as usual, none of these tweaks will completely suck and be completely pointless. Every tweak I cover has some sort of use. So also, all of the links will be down in the description for the sources you need, the tweak list, wallpaper, theme, everything you could ask for will be down in the description below, so make sure you check that out. And if you guys find yourself installing any of these tweaks I talk about in this video today, I'd really appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel because these videos do take a long time to produce. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get right into it. The first tweak is called Speedy, and this completely removes any animation from your device. So let me just show you how quickly your device moves with this tweak enabled. So say I want to go open up settings and close it. Look how quick that opens and closes compared to stock iOS. And then we can see Safari, we can see the clock, everything just opens so quick and closes so quickly. Now at first I thought this was just an alternative to no slow animations, which is a tweak I covered in my first video, but with no slow animations, you actually just speed up the animations. This completely removes them. So I think this is better than no slow animations, which is saying a lot. So if you think that jailbreaking your phone slows it down, think again, because this tweak definitely speeds it up. Next up is a tweak called DarkMessages, and as you can see, and as the name implies, it adds a dark theme to your messages application, and it looks really, really clean and elegant. So I know everybody's awaiting dark mode, in stock iOS at least, it's a big deal. With jailbreakers, we've had it for a while, but still, this is an awesome tweak if you don't want to install something like Noctis or Eclipse or something like that. If you just want it for the messages, this is a great way to do it. Next up is a tweak called Sonus, and just check out my status bar real quick. When I turn the volume up and down, take a look at how clean and fluid that volume HUD is. That's right, this tweak called Sonus uses a YouTube-like volume HUD at the top of the status bar for a really, really clean look. In my opinion, the best volume HUD on Cydia right now. Oh, so you thought that was it? You thought you just installed the tweak and it just does that? Oh, no. This tweak has a lot more to offer. You can see appearance here, you can change the colors of everything, the overlay, the gradient, you have the size and the position, you can completely change the size and the position, you can change the animation, and even more extra settings in here in the settings application. I mean, I don't know what to say. This is by far the best volume HUD tweak on Cydia in my opinion. Next up is a tweak called Peekaboo, and this gives you 3D touch capability on non-compatible devices. And I have an iPhone 6 here, so check this out. As you can see, I have the 3D touch capability on an iPhone 6, which obviously does not come stock with 3D touch capabilities. So you can peek and pop in messages and everything like that. You get full 3D touch capability with this tweak called Peekaboo. Now, one thing I will suggest is if you go into the settings, I would suggest turning the sensitivity up a lot. And how it works is you basically have to put more of your finger on the screen. So you basically kind of roll your thumb back when you're pressing on an icon to activate Peekaboo. And you also have kill switches here for haptic feedback and also for the messages application. Next up is TimeUntilAlarm, and this is one of my favorite tweaks from iOS 9. I'm a really big alarm guy. I love my alarms in iOS, and this tweak helps tremendously. So basically with this tweak, you can see the amount of time left before you have to wake up. So basically, if I were to go to bed right now and wake up at 8:23, I'd get 8 hours and 20 minutes of sleep. So I don't know about you guys, but I have my own set time in my head that I know I need to get 6 or 7 hours of sleep. In my head, it's 6 hours and 15 minutes. Don't ask why it's so specific, but 6 hours and 15 minutes is all I need for sleep. So when I go to bed at night and I look for the alarm to set, I just look at whatever alarm has at least 6 hours and 15 minutes. And this makes it so much easier to just look at the time instead of just sitting there trying to count on your fingers, 8, 9, 10. What time is it going to be when I wake up? This makes it so much easier. So speaking of alarm tweaks, this is another tweak called AlarmControl, and this allows you to toggle on or off all of your alarms at the same time. So if you go ahead and click on toggle alarms, you can see it toggles them all on at the same time. If we press it again, it toggles them all off at the same time. Now obviously this tweak will only be useful for those of you who are actually organized with your alarms. If you have 100 different alarms set for all hours of the day, obviously if you toggle on all alarms, you're not going to like that because you're going to have a ton of alarms going off all day. But in my case, as you can see here, say I want to get up at 9 a.m. and I want to toggle all these alarms off just to make sure I get up before 9 a.m. I can simply tap on toggle alarms and it will toggle them all on without me having to go in and individually enable and disable each one. So it's really a useful tweak. Next up is HideMeridiem, and check out the status bar. Do you notice something different in the middle there? That's because the AM or PM are non-existent, and it makes for a really, really clean and elegant look. Who would have thought that two little letters could make so much of a difference in the status bar? But I can't tell you how much cleaner it looks now that I've taken the AM and the PM out of the status bar with this tweak. Next up is FlipControlCenter, and this allows you to have a ton of toggles inside of your control center. So as you can see, we have VPN, LTE, low power mode, respring, all these different options straight from our control center. Now, CC settings isn't actually updated for iOS 10 yet, so in my opinion, this is the next best thing. This isn't even close to as good as CC settings in my opinion, but it's still a great tweak if you want to have a bunch of different toggles in your control center. And of course, you can go into settings and move around these toggles if you want something showing up here on the main screen so you don't have to scroll for it. You can go ahead and move those inside the settings. So one thing to know about FlipControlCenter is that it does not play nice with other tweaks. So if you have like a display recorder or CC recorder or Cream 2, a lot of those tweaks won't actually work with this tweak enabled. So just take note of that when you do decide to install this. Next up is NeverLowerMusic, and this tweak will never lower your music when you get a notification. So you know how you're listening to a song on Spotify or music, or you're watching a video, then you get a notification and your volume just dips down and then eventually goes back up. Well, yeah, this tweak completely disables that so your music doesn't get interrupted. Next up is ForceInPicture, and this enables picture-in-picture on previously unsupported devices like the iPhones. Now, unfortunately, this only works in Safari. It doesn't work in the YouTube application or anything like that, but if I go ahead and play a video here, I'll show you exactly how it works. So as you can see, we have this little button down here now. It's a new button down here. If we go ahead and tap on that, it puts it down in its own little window, and we have it on our home screen now. We can basically multitask, open up different applications, and it's right there, picture in picture, while we can multitask on our iPhones. Obviously, this doesn't work great on like an iPhone 6 or a 5S. This will work a lot better on the Plus models, but it's still a really cool feature. And then if you want to go back, just go ahead and click on that button again, and it takes you right back into Safari. Next up is PreferenceOrganizer 2. And when you install a ton of tweaks and a ton of applications, and you go to your settings, you usually have to scroll way down and you have to look in between and try to find that application settings. Well, let me just go ahead and scroll down and show you how short mine is. Oh, that's it. It's already done. As you can see, here I have system apps, social networking apps, tweaks, and app store apps completely categorized in their own little panels down here. So if I go ahead and click on tweaks, for instance, you can see this loads in all my tweaks, and it's a lot easier to sort through different application settings. So if you're OCD like me and like everything being really clean, this is a no-brainer, must-have tweak. Next up is swipe to kill all, and this just allows you to kill every application running with a simple swipe of the app switcher on the home screen. So if we have the home screen here, we slide up and the app switcher, it closes all applications. As you can see, nothing is running anymore. Next up is Cheader, and this gives you colored banner headers inside Notification Center and also in Spotlight. So if you go ahead and swipe over to Spotlight, you can see the headers right here on these notification cards. You can see purple there, we have blue, we have green, we have white. Looks really, really cool. If you go down from Notification Center, you can see SoundCloud is in fact orange there. So this is just another way to spice up your device and make it look a lot more lively. Next up is NoPowerAutoLock, and this simply just disables the auto lock when you have low power mode enabled. So I don't know about you guys, but I use low power mode a lot. And one of my least favorite things is how it auto locks your device. I mean, I get the whole concept and everything, but it's just really, really annoying when you're doing things and you go over to your computer to type something, then you come back and you have to unlock your phone again, something like that. So this completely disables it, and you can even enable a custom duration if you'd like. And then you also have a kill switch here for dimming the screen. If you want to disable the dim screen with low power mode enabled, you can go ahead and do that here. Next up is SlideCut, and this allows you to use keyboard shortcuts on iOS. And I'm a huge keyboard shortcut guy. I use keyboard shortcuts for everything, and you kind of have to when you use Final Cut Pro or any kind of editing software to edit things. You have to know those keystrokes. But anyways, this allows you to use keyboard shortcuts with iOS. So let me just demonstrate real quick. If I drag from the spacebar to A, it will select all just like you do on a computer. And if I do space to X, you can see it cuts it, space to V, it pastes it. So I'm just going to type a bunch more and just show you again. Space to A, selects it all, then space V, it pastes what I had previously copied. So this is SlideCut, a really, really awesome tweaks for getting things done faster when typing. And the next tweak you may have actually noticed while I was typing there, it's called Bloard, and this allows you to have a dark keyboard throughout iOS. And we can't talk about keyboard tweaks without mentioning my all-time favorite keyboard tweak, DoubleCut. So DoubleCut allows you to insert a string of text that you choose by simply double tapping, holding, or triple tapping on a single key on the keyboard. So let me just demonstrate. So if I double tap on B, you can see it inserts my email address right there. If I hit space and then I triple tap on Q, it inserts that line of gibberish there that I set up in settings. This is extremely useful for having like email addresses set up. That way you don't have to ever really type out that long email address ever again. You can just simply double tap on a key and it inserts it that quickly. So inside the settings here in DoubleCut, you can see I have my snippets down here. So let's go ahead and add a new snippet just to show you how it works. So snippet key is basically where you just select the key that you want to press. So I'm just going to do Y, that's the key I want to press, and then the result. So this is when you double press on Y, what's it going to say? So I'm going to put hello, and that means that when I double tap on Y, it will insert hello. And I can even change that to triple tap or long press as well, but I'm just going to stick to double tap. And so when I do that, when I double tap on Y, it'll say hello, let's save. Then let's go back. Double tap Y, and as you can see, it spits out hello. Next up is StatusVolX, and as you can see up there in the status bar, we have another volume HUD replacement. So this is just an alternate to Sonus, which I showed you early on. And this is just if you have trouble with Sonus or it doesn't work or it conflicts with another tweak. This, in my opinion, is the second best volume HUD inside of Cydia right now. Next up is Safari Full URL. And you may have noticed this earlier, but inside of Safari, as you can see up in the address bar, it actually shows the full URL of the page you're on. So some people may not like this. They may prefer to just see YouTube there or Apple or whatever site you're on instead of the full URL. But I know somebody out there will enjoy this tweak. And the next tweak is SafariFullScreenScrolling. And I kind of gave you a sneak peek there, but when I go ahead and scroll down, as you can see, we have a full screen experience inside of Safari, which is just amazing. As you can see, there's no status bar, there's no address bar, there's no nothing. It's just a full screen. It almost makes it look like, you just got rid of a bezel on a phone. That's what it looks like. That's the equivalent. And it's just a great all-around experience browsing in Safari while in full screen. Now this is especially awesome on the iPad. Now the only thing I don't like about this tweak is that when you start scrolling up, you can see the status bar and the address bar reappear. I wish there was an option to maybe disable or enable that, or just maybe when you get to the very top of the page, it reappears there. But that's just one little gripe I have with this tweak. Otherwise, really amazing tweak. If you use Safari a lot, this is a no-brainer. You got to download this tweak. Next up is NoDeletePhoto Confirmation. So I know it's a mouthful and a lot to type, but basically this tweak just allows you to bypass the confirmation tab that you get when you go to delete a photo inside of your Photos application. So usually when you hit the little trash can icon down here, it'll pop up and say, are you sure you want to delete this? This will just bypass that. So let me go ahead and click on it. As you can see, it just deletes it right away without that alert there. Very simple tweak, but it does save you some time. And while we're in the Photos application, I may as well show you the next tweak, which is HideUselessAlbums. And this does exactly what it says it does. It hides those useless albums that have like slow-mo and things like that, stuff you don't need, folders you don't need in your albums. It completely removes those and makes the albums page a lot cleaner. The next tweak is CCRecord. If we go ahead and swipe up on our control center, you can see down there in the bottom right, we have a video camera icon, and that will actually, when you press that, it'll start recording your screen instantly. And then when you swipe up and hit it again, it stops recording and instantly saves it to your camera roll. So this is an awesome tweak for multiple different reasons, but the top two that come to my head are, for one, gaming. So if you like recording yourself playing games, this is a great way to do that. You can also have the mic involved, so you can talk on the mic as well. And the second reason is for troubleshooting. So if you send me like a video, showing all your packages, it's a lot easier to take a video of all your packages than taking 20 screenshots of all your packages. So that is CCRecord, an easy way to record your home screen. Now, one thing to note with that is that it does not work with FlipControlCenter. As I mentioned earlier, FlipControlCenter doesn't really play well with a lot of Control Center tweaks, so just be aware of that. And while we're in the Control Center, I may as well show you the next tweak, which is called OutOfControl. And this allows you to have randomized colors on your toggles here in the Control Center every time you respring. So as you can see here, we have a purple. If I go ahead and enable Bluetooth, we have like a light pink, or a light purple, I should say, and then we have a green here for the disable lock there. So this is a really cool tweak. It really just spices things up and keeps things, fresh and interesting inside of the control center there. And once again, this does not work with FlipControlCenter. Surprise, surprise. So now that I've kept you here this long, I may as well show you what's been hiding all of my labels on my icons on my springboard here, and that is Hide Labels 10. All this tweak does is completely hides the labels or the names of the applications on your springboard and also in your dock. And you may have also noticed down at the bottom here, I have multiple pages, but I don't have any dots, and that's thanks to NoPage.7. And if you theme your device, this is an obvious must-have right now, especially since SpringTomize 3 is not compatible with iOS 10.2 just yet. Next up is IconRenamer. This allows you to change the icon name on your device. So if you have the icons underneath each application, you can change the name of each application on your springboard. So all you have to do is go into wiggle mode and then just tap on the application you want to change the name for. And as you can see there, if I did have labels enabled, you would see that this tweak says, or this application says IG++ on my springboard instead of just Instagram. Next up is NC if needed, and this opens up the notification center to the logical place every time you open it up. So what I mean by the logical place is that if you have a notification that's unread in your notification center, when you pull down notification center, it will take you straight to that notification. And if you don't have any notifications, it will take you straight to the today view. So just to test this theory, let's go ahead and swipe down and let's get rid of this right here, but stay on the notification screen right here and then swipe down. And as you can see, it takes me right to the today view instead of notifications, only because I didn't have any notifications there. Next up is smart battery percentage, and this only shows your battery percentage when you're under 20%. Now, first I was like, why is this useful? Why would somebody not want to know their battery percentage until it gets down to 20%? But then I thought about it more and applied it to real life, and I was like, wait a minute. This is just like the low gas alert on your car. So, in your car, when you start running low on fuel, you'll get an alert saying, low gas, you're running low on gas. This is basically just like the low fuel alert in a car, but for iOS. So basically when you're running low on battery, which is like the equivalent to fuel in a car, it will give you that alert. So I thought it was pretty funny and pretty cool, and I'm definitely going to keep this enabled the whole time I have this jailbreak. Next up is swipe for more, and this is one of my favorite tweaks of all time for inside of Cydia. So if we go ahead and swipe over on a package, you can see there we can delete, we can install, we can add it to a queue, we can do all these things with a simple swipe. So for instance, if I wanted to delete this tweak, all I'd have to do is press the X there and it would take me to the delete page right away. Now by default in Cydia, you'd have to click on it, you'd have to click modify, then you'd have to click remove. So this saves you a ton of time within Cydia. And it's the same with upgrades and packages you don't have installed as well. So if we have upgrades right here, if we swipe over, you can see we have the option to update right there. If we go down to a tweak we don't have installed yet, as you can see, you can add it to the queue and download it just from a simple swipe gesture and then a press on one button. I really feel like there needs to be more tweaks that apply to the inside of Cydia and makes life easier inside of Cydia. Next up is bars, and this brings back the old bars up in the status bar for your signal strength. So I'm a really nostalgic person, and I love tweaks that remind me back of the old days, the iPhone 4, the 3GS days, and this tweak always reminds me of that, and I love it. Next up is a tweak called Touch Home, and this allows you to use your Touch ID sensor as the home button. And I know what you're thinking, there's a lot of tweaks out there like this, but I'm including this tweak specifically because it's optimized for iOS 10, but also because it's a lot better than Toucher in my opinion, because it is a lot more responsive and sensitive to your actual finger on the fingerprint sensor. So just as a proof of concept, as you can see, I'm just simply putting my thumb over top of the sensor there, and if I go ahead and double tap, I don't know how much you can really see my finger doing that. It's hard to really, portray that through video, but still, it's a great way to preserve your home button life, especially if you're on a pre-iPhone 7 device. And you have the mechanical home button. This is a great way to preserve that home button and not destroy it. The only thing I don't like about tweaks like this is that sometimes you accidentally put your finger over the fingerprint sensor and it takes you home, even though you didn't really mean to go home. So kind of just play around with it. See if you accidentally do it enough to where it's like you don't want to do it anymore. You don't want to have this tweak installed anymore, but still definitely worth checking out if you have a mechanical home button, and especially if you have a broken home button. Speaking of the Touch ID sensor, if we go ahead and lock our device, and if we press the home button, you can see I get no type of alert at all to enter my passcode, and that's because with this tweak enabled, you can only unlock your passcode with your Touch ID fingerprint. So as you can see, when I put my fingerprint over it, voila, we're in. So it's a great tweak if you have your girlfriend over you all the time trying to figure out your passcode, or your friends or whoever trying to figure out your passcode all the time. They can figure out their passcode all you want. If you install this tweak, they're not going to be able to get in unless they have your finger. But one thing I will say is be careful. Some of these girls out there are crazy. They'll take your thumb while you're sleeping and put it over your phone and get into your phone regardless. So just always keep one eye open. That's all I'll say. Next up is classic retweet. And remember when I said I'm a very nostalgic person? This is another one of those nostalgia things for me. So this brings back the old retweet method, I should say, for Twitter. So if you haven't been using Twitter forever, if you're not an avid Twitter user, this tweak will be completely useless to you. But basically all you have to do is tap on the retweet button there, and then you have a new option here for classic retweet. If you go ahead and click on that, you can see it brings up the old school retweet method of retweeting a tweet. So believe it or not, back in the day, we didn't have quotes or anything like that on Twitter. This was the only way to retweet someone. So it's just a really cool one, and I know it will apply to at least 1% of the people watching this video. Next up is actually an application, and it's called iAdministrator. And this allows you to see very, very detailed and advanced information about your device. So as you can see here, we have the partition. If we go back here, you can see when you first open it up, you have the system tab here, and it shows your partition information for your memory. Then if we click on the hamburger menu, you can see all of these different options down here. We have accessory, battery, carrier. If we click on hardware, you can see everything about your device here. You can see the display density, the width, the height. Does it work? Rear camera, front camera, you can see the megapixels. You can see everything with this application, and it's really, really cool. So going back to the springboard now, you may have noticed down in my dock that I have no dock down there whatsoever, and that's thanks to a tweak called Clear Dock. So all it does is remove that little background gradient that's there in iOS by default. And it looks really cool, especially with a theme like this, because it almost looks like the dock, the icons in the dock are just floating, and it gives it just a really, really nice effect. And staying on the springboard, you may have noticed that I have 5 icons on the springboard here, and that's thanks to a tweak called BetterFivelcon Homescreen. And then it's the same thing down in the dock. I have 5 icons down there, and that's from BetterFiveIcon Dock. These two kind of go hand in hand, so you should definitely install them together. Next up is Tap Tap Flip, and this allows you to flip the camera from the rear facing to the front facing and vice versa by simply double tapping in on the screen anywhere. So if I go ahead and double tap on the screen right here, you can see it brings me to the front facing camera. Hello. I double tap it again, it takes me back to the rear facing camera. So this basically just takes Snapchat's implementation that they have on their app and brings it back to stock iOS, the stock iOS camera application. Next up is a tweak called Auto Launch, and this actually launches applications immediately after they crash. Now this only works for App Store applications, so say if you're in Snapchat or something like that and somebody sends you a snap, or 100 people are sending you a snap at the same time and your Snapchat application crashes, it will open up automatically without you having to actually go back and tap on Snapchat to open it up again. Next up is another keyboard tweak called Keyboard Audio, and this allows you to switch between 2 different keyboards on your keyboard very easily. So basically if I hold on the globe icon there, you can see that I actually have 3 keyboards here, but it's only going to shift through 2 of them because that's how I have it set up. So if I go ahead and tap on it, you can see it loads up SwiftKey. If I go ahead and tap again here and tap the globe, you can see it goes straight back to the default keyboard instead of going to the emoji keyboard, just because that's how I set it up. So basically how you set this up is you go to Settings, General, Keyboard, and then go to Keyboards, and all you have to do is click on Edit and then drag in the first 2 that you want to use. Those will be the ones that are actually going to be used with Keyboard Audio. So for instance, if I switched emoji for SwiftKey there and I put it on top of it, and if I go back into my notes here, if I tap on the globe, you will see it goes to the emoji keyboard now, and it actually completely disables the SwiftKey keyboard. Of course, I can get back to it by holding on the globe icon and then opening up SwiftKey just like that. So it's a really cool tweak, especially if you have multiple keyboards installed like I do with SwiftKey. Next up is Cylinder, and this is one of the most iconic tweaks in Cydia history, and this just allows you to have animations when you scroll through your springboard. So take a look at this when I switch my pages. You can see it's like a random animation every time, and it looks really, really cool. Obviously, it doesn't look cool when it's randomized like that, but when you have a set animation, it can look really cool and clean. So inside the settings for Cylinder, you can see we have all these different effects here. I actually have, I think, 6 set right now, but you have all these different effects to choose from. You can simply clear, you can add like 7th and 8th, 9th, and then if I go back and have randomize turned on, you can see it will randomize all those different effects. Each time I switch between pages, it will randomize and use one of the effects that I have set up here. Next up is adaptive color alerts. So this allows the alerts that pop up on your screen to adapt to the color behind them. So as you can see, we have like this purple. So as you can see here, we have like this purplish pinkish. Pinkish accent here. So as you can see here, we have like this purplish pinkish gradient on the notification here for Sonus. And you can see we have like the yellow gradient, the blurred gradient there for the icons. And it just looks really, really cool. The next tweak is iWidgets. So this is one that a lot of people know about, but a lot of people have still messaged me about this and have no clue it exists. So you see this little thing down here that says 102 and it says the date, February 2nd. That is actually from an iWidget. So basically when you install iWidget, all you have to do is tap and hold on an empty space on the screen and it will bring up your widgets here, and you simply tap on a widget and then enable it and it will show up, and then you just have to move it around and maneuver it on your screen. I will have the widget I'm using here and the repo you need to add in the description below. Next up is Little Emoji, and this brings back these small emojis from iOS 9 into iOS 10. So as you know, in iOS 10 the emojis are huge now. They take up like the whole screen from just one emoji. So this allows you to bring back these small emojis so you can actually see your conversation that was going on. So if you upgraded from the 9.3.3 jailbreak to the iOS 10 jailbreak, you're probably going to really like this tweak here. Now, if you don't like emojis or the person you're sending emojis to actually can't see them because they're on an outdated phone or they just can't see emojis for whatever reason, you're going to like this last tweak called Unicode Faces. So if you go ahead and tap and hold on the space bar, you can see it brings up a new panel here where you can actually insert and send Unicode Faces very easily. So if I go ahead and send this one right here, as you can see, it sends just like that, and it basically is just a great way to evoke some emotion into your conversation if you can't use emojis. So there you have it, guys. Those are 46 awesome and free jailbreak tweaks for your iOS 10 device. And I have a lot more of these videos planned, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the little bell there next to the subscribe button as well to get my post notifications. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really would appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up, as these do take a long time to make. And fun fact, didn't really want to tell this on video, but I'm going to say it because it's kind of come to that point now. But yesterday I recorded this video in its entirety, over an hour of raw footage, and it just got completely deleted. Didn't even save or anything. There's no autosave. I tried everything in the books to recover it, but it didn't get recovered. So this is my second time shooting it. Hoping I came across as enthusiastic as I was the first time. Let me know in the comment section down below. And thanks again for watching, guys. I will see you soon.